Welcome to ZKast, everyone. I'm ZS Caraval from ZK Research, and I'm here on site in Las Vegas at the Mandalay Bay Convention Center at Blackhat 2024. Joining me is Rick Vanover, VP Product Strategy for Veeam. Rick, how you doing?
Hey, good to be back on the ZKast. I'm just going to call it the ZKast.
Yeah, being Canadian and all.
Oh, you are Canadian.
Yeah.
That's right. I just I like Zed. It just rolls. But really good to be here at Blackhat. My first time, and man, this event is hopping.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. What are you hoping to learn here? Why'd you come to this event?
Well, I'm on the other side. You know, I want to let the market learn. I want them to learn that Veeam is in the business of having the best end-to-end cyber resiliency. So I've had a couple of chats already here today, but also I want to know the state. You know, I've learned a lot about the threat actors and the different elements that go into an end-to-end resiliency strategy. I have a lot to learn individually. I love talking to those experts, hearing their debriefs of things that go well and things that did not go well, or the things you remember, right? So I'm always here to learn.
Yeah. Now, when people think of Veeam, they think you as a backup and recovery company, but you do play a large role in companies' ransomware strategies.
Recovery strategies.
Ransom recovery, that's right. So you do play in the world of cyber, so it obviously makes sense you're here, and a big presence at RSA as well. And I know you guys do your own research as well, and recently you launched your the State of Ransomware Report. Can you just provide some highlights for that? What did that report tell you? Yeah,
so the Veeam Ransomware Trends Report is fully available for free at veeam.com. But basically, it tells us, honestly, that some of the numbers are not so good. Yeah. Now, let me explain, right? This data is curated from thousands of people around the world, double blind, meaning they don't know Veeam's asking, and we don't know who they are. We also can discern who is using Veeam, but we don't publish that. But so many times, threat actors are going after the backup repositories, meaning they know how an organization is going to get out of a problem. When it comes to other statistics, one that really sticks out to me, in fact, I'd have to double check. I want to say it's in the 86% range, ZS, but yes, 88% of organizations are not aligned with their cybersecurity teams and their backup teams, right? So people problems are part of the problem.
Yes.
And so
in fact, people is always a big problem, right?
Yeah, and you know, I go back and forth on this. I want to talk through all the different scenarios and things that we learn in the reports. But this data, this market research that Jason and the others on our team do, fuels both our product strategy, our market strategy, our enterprise strategy, and honestly, best practices, professional services, and more. Yeah,
and there was a couple of the shocking stats in there. I think one of them was a good chunk of the audience said even though they paid the ransom, they didn't necessarily get their data back. Now, I'm not surprised that somebody who stole your data, held you up for ransom, didn't give your data back. But that's paying the ransom, certainly no option, right?
Absolutely. All the security professionals agree paying the ransom is not part of the strategy. Yeah. So invest backwards in the supply chain, invest backwards in the timeline to ensure that you can manage an outcome that you want. And what I've seen in my conversations with the organizations, ZS, is that so many times when they get to that point that a ransom is part of the solution, it's because of inconsistencies. Like, oh, we just acquired that company and they were doing their own thing and they weren't standardized, and so they didn't really get aligned and have the same level of outcomes as our other infrastructures. So those types of things matter. But I don't have the exact number, I'm really bad at this, but let me summarize. Of the organizations that actually did pay the ransom, approximately 1 out of 3 did not actually successfully get access to the data. So even if you plan on paying the ransom, you have a significant chance that it will not lead to a positive outcome.
Yeah.
So it's just everything's telling me. And then I'm also thinking data integrity. If the threat actor touched it twice, I don't trust that data at all.
Yeah. Who knew you couldn't trust a threat actor, right? So
yeah, exactly.
Now, on a related piece of news, in fact, this just dropped. Veeam was once again named the leader in Gartner's Magic Quadrant for backup and recovery. And so connect those dots. Help us understand how strength in backup recovery actually helps companies with the ransomware recovery strategy.
Yeah, so the Veeam position or Veeam placement in the Gartner Magic Quadrant for enterprise backup and recovery software solutions is what myself and a couple of my colleagues spend a whole month of April and March working on. It's a month to remember, for sure. But we put a lot into that, and it's a massive survey, comparative survey of a lot of different providers in our space, and we placed well. We're really happy with our placement, and a couple of those points really drive from some significant corporate investments. One is Coveware by Veeam, which really provides that end-to-end cyber resiliency, and another are individual capabilities around things like inline malware detection. It's AI powered, and so many other capabilities. But I encourage everyone to check that out. You can get that at veeam.com as well.
And in addition to being a MQ leader, you're actually, according to IDC, the market leader as well. So I think there's a couple of points of validation.
Yeah, and ZS, I'm going to be transparent. This is my 14th year at Veeam. On day one, I'd actually spend time saying how to pronounce and spell Veeam. But in backup, I don't have to do that anymore, which is great. So it's really nice to have that recognition, but I'm going to flip it around. There's only one direction to go from number one. So we have to keep
more number one.
Well, that's the acceptable path. But there's only one placement you can go other than number one. So we have to keep our pencils sharp and our mind ready to go. Yeah,
well, that's been one of your hallmarks. So speaking of pencil sharp, I know you've had some recent news, and one of them was a partnership with Lenovo. Can you talk about that and what you're doing in the area of backup recovery with them?
Yeah, so Lenovo TrueScale is a really compelling kind of platform as a service offering for organizations that are wanting that kind of OpEx model for that CapEx type of equipment. And I've been working on this since the early days here at Veeam. This is a really good milestone in our alliance and solution strategy, but this is really attractive. So industry standard servers and storage systems can be delivered as a service, protected by Veeam. And there's different parts of the world that are really happy for that, and then the fact that it's global is really, really helpful, but that's a big milestone for our partnership there.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. In fact, it's exclusive too, right, I believe?
Veeam is the exclusive backup provider, and honestly, I'll go one step further in that this is really only possible because of the current breadth of the platform. A couple of years ago, it'd be like, oh, we don't support this, we don't properly back up that, but now we do, and we're ready to go all in that regard.
Yeah, and then you also had an announcement around Veeam Data Cloud.
Yeah, Veeam Data Cloud. Oh boy, so that is awesome. So the Veeam portfolio right now today has two very distinct pillars, lack of a better word. Veeam Data Platform, which is the traditional software that we've had for years and years. And then there's Veeam Data Cloud, which is backup as a service for software as a service. And I have a really good zinger to add for you on this one, Zeus. Veeam Data Cloud, we just added a new service called Veeam Data Cloud Vault. So that is backup storage as a service, okay? Powered by Azure, immutable, as a service, provided by Veeam. Now here's the cool thing. We require the immutability to be used, and we require the backups to be encrypted by the end user's encryption password. I have a really powerful stat with that, Zeus. In all of Veeam, through nearly 500,000 customers, we do not have a recorded tech support case of an organization unable to recover data when they have an immutable copy and they have their encryption password under management. Really powerful stat. So this is the way.
So 100%.
Well, I mean, 100. Well, yeah, we don't have a recorded case. Nobody's had immutable backups and their encryption password who was unable to recover data. So it's really powerful.
Yeah, I guess that stands to reason.
And that's why, and those two things are built into Veeam Data Cloud Vault so that they can get that high resilient outcome right from the start, and it's available today.
So just one last question here. So my takeaway from this discussion is that backup and recovery really needs to be part of your overall cyber strategy. Historically, when I talk to IT leaders, those two teams aren't exactly best of friends sometimes. Communication work. Are you seeing any movement in that direction of companies actually bringing those two worlds together?
I do. I see it successful when organizations are very much top-down focused. Bottom-up is hard when it comes to getting the different groups to work together. So we've invested a lot with, and that's actually one of the reasons why our team is here this week. We're investing a lot in having those top-down conversations. We have field CISOs now. We have field CTOs for all types of scenarios. And then also we have the capabilities, the services to match. So I think all in, this is the way, and we're just out there telling the good story, having those conversations, And I'll go one step further. There's basically nothing we haven't seen with our customer base. All the different scenarios, compliance, configurations, audits that we've been through. We're ready for anything at this time.
All right, great. Well, Rick, thanks for the little primer there on backup and recovery and the importance of cyber. Congratulations on all the announcements as well. So on behalf of Rick Vanover, I'm Vanover from ZK Research, and thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button. I'll include a link to the report in the YouTube description below, and I'll see you next time on my next episode of ZKast.